Hey KU fans, welcome back to Allen Fieldhouse and KU Sports Extra with Benton Smith on a cold and starting to ice, I hear, Saturday night. It was hot in this building. It was hot because this team played one of their best games of the season, at least offensively and in terms of just pummeling someone. It was hot because there were 127 former players here that were
Is that the official count?
That was the official count. They were partying behind the bench. Devontae Graham, Svi Mikhailuk, and Malik Newman were here. And when Chris Tehan got in at the end of the game, they were standing up like they were starters, taken out of the game, begging for him to hit a three. He did, and Kansas rolled 78-53 over last place West Virginia. That's really it. We don't even have to talk anymore. That sums up the whole day right there, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact from a KU standpoint that they looked like they were playing one of the worst teams in the Big 12. They didn't play down to the competition. They didn't make the types of bad mistakes that let West Virginia gain any momentum. They just came out and played a complete game. I thought they were really good defensively in the first half, and that created plenty of separation. West Virginia only had 16 points in the first half and never made any type of run. So, I mean, I thought KU handled its business, which is exactly what you got to do.
Yeah, West Virginia had an 8-0 run in the second half, and no one cared.
Nope.
I mean, it didn't cut it to 14, where you're thinking, a couple more, we're right back in it. It didn't cut it to single digits. It was still like 20 plus, or 20 maybe, right at it. And it was just that kind of night. I agree with you. The defense was phenomenal. West Virginia shot, what, 33.9%? Bob Huggins will tell you we had a lot to do with that. That's what he said after the game. You asked him. I agree. They're not a great offensive team, but I think most of it was the way Kansas defended them. I thought KU's defense was really just tenacious. They were just tough, and they just decided, we're not going to give you shots that you want to take. You're going to have to make shots that you don't want to take. And, you know, so that's where it all started, the defensive end. Offensively, they had 5 guys in double digits. Nobody really exploded, although KJ Lawson, another double-digit game, another big game for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought he was a monster story, and it wasn't late. It wasn't just, you know, 4 or 5 buckets in the second half. I mean, he had a couple of drives to the rim in the first half where he attacked off the bounce and finished. And that's so important on this team. You've got to have somebody else besides Devon Dotson, who's probably better than anyone on the planet at doing it right now. But you got to have someone else do it. And KJ Lawson, it doesn't look the same. They're totally different methods, but it's just as effective right now. And he's had 2 really good games in a row.
Yeah, and it helped. I think Coach Self talked about after the game, you can tell that Diedrich's kind of tired. So, I mean, KJ steps up with some scoring. Scoring was nice and spread out. They didn't have to ask too much of Diedrich.
That's so
important. Now they have a week off until Texas Tech. A lot of the players Coach Self talked about after the game, how important that will be, just having that kind of break. That you get to rejuvenate a little bit. You're not just getting beat up every couple of days, because that's kind of the way it goes, especially if you're a premier player like Lawson or Dotson or Ochai, and guys that are attacking the paint consistently. I mean, those bruises, they can accumulate.
Yeah.
That 7-day break is going to be nice headed into that Texas Tech game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think it's important to point out that they've won 3 in a row now. Oklahoma State, TCU, and West Virginia. None of those teams are alive in the race for the Big 12 title. Their next 2 games, Texas Tech and K-State, both of those teams are alive. So it's been a nice stretch. The key for Kansas will be transitioning a nice stretch against the lower half to good basketball against those teams at the top. If they can do that, this thing's still theirs. K-State lost today. KU won. They're a half game behind K-State with 5 to go. K-State's got 6 to go. Texas Tech's right there tied with Kansas. So still a long way to go, but all of those teams are alive and well. But I think that's sort of an important thing. They've gotten well, they've gotten healthy, they've gotten right against those lower half teams. Now does it transition? And I think it probably can. One thing that you just said that made me think about that was, remember 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, or 6 weeks ago, or all of those, where it was very clear to everyone paying attention that they were going to need about 30 and 15 from Diedrich Lawson to win a game.
Right.
He got 9 and 3 tonight, and they rolled. That, again, it came against the last place team, but that's an indication that these other guys are starting to step up and starting to take some of that burden off of them.
Yeah, I mean, like Ochai Agbaji, Devon Dotson, those guys we've kind of seen trending upward, and now KJ Lawson is in the mix. David McCormick is playing better.
Right.
I mean, with all these guys making these incremental gains, I mean, that's huge for this team, who obviously just needed somebody to help Diedrich not be the guy who has to do everything every single night. So I think it's more of a collective effort now, even though the rotation's gotten shorter with Vic being gone and Garrett being injured. KU has actually gotten better as a result. So it's funny how things work out sometimes. Chemistry and just, I mean, I guess it is kind of easier for everybody to kind of be more enthused and be more energetic when, like, you know you're going to play. You know, when that rotation's small, you know you're getting your minutes. If you're Mitch Lightfoot or David McCormick, you know you're going to play a role. Those guys have been big too. Yeah,
they definitely have. I thought today, tremendous team effort, team win. It was very methodical. They just came out here and decided this isn't going to be close and had a lot of fun doing it. Any final thoughts getting out of here? Again, the game was over before it really began. KU rolled, but do you have any final thoughts taken away from this one?
No double-doubles today for anybody.
Wow.
Big disappointment.
They are going to be running sprints for that. That's what they look at back there, double-doubles. No, it was a great game, a great win. They had to have this one, obviously. They got to have the rest. And 1 week from now, it doesn't get bigger than that. I mean, the following Monday, K-State right here. But before that, maybe as big, if not bigger. KU at Texas Tech, tied right there, a half game back. It doesn't get bigger than that.
No, and Texas Tech has really been pummeling people in Lubbock
ever since they were here. Yeah, they were furious of how they played in this building, and they've been taking it out on the rest of the world ever since. So we'll obviously head down there, but we'll have a week to kind of really dive into some more aspects of this team and this transition from a one-man band and Dedrick Lawson to a bunch of guys playing their faces off, playing hard, and getting good results out of it. For Ben Smith, I'm Matt Tate. KU wins it 78-53 over a sad Bob Huggins. We'll talk to you guys again sometime soon on another KU Sports Extra.